Okay, so here we have our math plans. Just want to do a quick overview of what the first week is going to look like, and then I'm going to dig into the work from week 1, day 1, and week 1, day 2. So again, this is pretty self-explanatory, but you should really only be doing one of these days per day. I know that sounds very self-explanatory, but you can also go on khanacademy.com. You see I made a little typo there. Some of you have already pointed out some of these. Again, your other teachers and I did this pretty quickly. We weren't anticipating this, so if you find something and you have a question on what it really means, please let me know. We'll fix it or get it up to date. All right, anyway, so day 1 wants you to review fractions on a number line. So if we take a look here, you can see it's pretty straightforward. Something to remember: what are your intervals? Okay, if this is 0 and this is 1, that distance is 1, which means if you're going to be putting these on a line and you want to look, okay, here's 1/2, it's not going to go closer to 0, it's not going to go closer to 1, it's going to be approximately right in the middle, right? And you're going to do the best you can, and then of course label it. And you're going to do that for all these points, remembering, what does the denominator tell you in a fraction? Denominator tells you how many pieces something is cut into. So things that you can utilize for this are your equivalent ratios, right? So, okay, maybe you don't know tenths, but you'll know that halves, 1/2 equals 5/10, right? And you can use your equivalent ratios to convert it that way. When we flip through on the pages, this is asking you to do the very same thing. But it's just different number sets. Remember, you're going from 1 to 2, including the whole number. Again, label your points. Alright, so these are reteaches and enriches, and in my math class we already did all of these. We would have worked through most of them, so this is a great explanation of what we need to do, how to convert between fractions, decimals, but also here comparing, ordering. Pretty self-explanatory, but again, any questions, let me know. We are then jumping to coordinate planes, finding distance. I would like you to try and find the distance in a way that's not just counting, right? That's a great way to check your work. You can just count from there. But remember, we talked about things like absolute value. Very helpful for this, because remember, this would be your 0 line, right? X and Y coordinates tell you how far left and right and up and down respectively. And then here, create a point that is 5 units from point C. Technically, you could be going in 2 directions to create a quadrilateral. Which direction would you go? And make sure you explain how you found one of those distances. Alright, more coordinate plane work. Somebody has already a shout out to one of our favorite students over there. Somebody has already pointed this out. How you this is a bit of an error. How could you the order? That doesn't make sense. This should say, how could you use the ordered pair for vertices I, J, and K to figure out the ordered pair for vertex L? Basically, how could you use these 3 points to find this one? We've done work like this. This is well within your bounds. Apply yourself, and you can. I see no problems with that. Another similar challenging setup here. You can definitely get through this. And then that does it for day 1. So I wanted to put this out here as well. I'm going to just talk about day 2 briefly, so that way every day from now on I can at least have the next day's work uploaded, so you'll be ready. We're going to continue from that chapter 2 stuff. You could say it says here, today we're going to practice multiplying and dividing fractions. We learned the butterfly method. Now, I was actually working on this with another teacher. We didn't call it the butterfly method. We called it check across, right? Check across method to simplify before multiplying. Okay, so what that looks like very quickly, if I were to do that on the back of this page, there we go. So if I were to have 1/2 times 4/6, instead of simplifying that, what I could do is check across, right? Divide both of those by 2, that becomes 1, and then this would become 2. I divided both of those by 2. Now this still isn't in simplest form, so I would have to simplify, but you would see that becomes then 2/6, which is equal to 1/3. So perhaps not the best example I pulled right out of the hat, but let's do another one then. If we had 1/2 times 4/7, excuse me, you do check across, same thing, 1 to 2, this becomes 2 over 7, and then that's in simplest form because 2/7 in simplest form. The reason that one didn't work, well, you explain. But we call that check across, not butterfly. So you're going to complete these reteach pages. They're all self-inclusive. Again, if you do have any questions, please let me know. Remember your order of operations down here on these pages. Remember your order of operations. Let's see, we're simplifying factors, dividing fractions, and dividing mixed numbers. Okay, a word on dividing mixed numbers. Remember, we were using common denominators to divide mixed numbers. So if I have 3/4 divided by 1/2, let's see what that looks like briefly. 3/4 divided by 1 1/2. Remember that first I'm going to make this into an improper fraction, so that's going to become 3/2, and that stays the same. But now I want it to be a common denominator. So 2 and 4 share this least common multiple of 4. So I want to multiply this by 2 over 2. We call that a form of 1. So then this becomes actually 6/4. So now I have 3/4 divided by 6/4, and that's 3 divided by 6, right? Take the numerator, put it on top of the other numerator, 3 divided by 6 over 1, which we don't need, and that actually becomes 1/2. And basically what you're saying is 1/2 of 1 1/2 fits into 3/4, or 3/4 is half of 1 1/2. All right, and that about does it for the math. I'll post another video for social studies briefly explaining this whole week's work, and then look for more videos to come. All right, good luck everybody.